What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Let's dive right into our first news. Darren Till and Dan Hooker went back and forth on X following a heated exchange that quickly caught attention across the MMA community. The situation began when Darren called out Dan for referencing Paddy's close friend Ricky, who tragically died by suicide back in 2022. Darren made it clear that bringing up someone who has passed away crossed a serious line and sparked an emotional response from him. Dan responded by firing back, asking Darren what he would have done differently in the same situation. Darren replied honestly, admitting that while he is not afraid to go low in verbal exchanges, he felt what was said went too far. He acknowledged that both sides had said unsavory things during the exchange, but emphasized that involving someone who is no longer alive to defend themselves was unacceptable. Darren went on to explain that although he did not personally know Ricky, he had heard nothing but good things about him. He described Ricky as one of the kindest souls, someone who was respected and loved by people in the community. Darren said comments like that naturally hit a nerve, especially when they involve someone from your own city. He stressed that when one of your own is mentioned in that way, you feel obligated to stand up for them. Darren ended his comments by saying that Ricky is not here to speak for himself, and because of that, defending his name matters even more. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to support the channel. Moving on to another news. Sean O'Malley admitted he was genuinely shocked when he saw Justin Gaethje listed as a sizable underdog against Paddy Pimblett on several betting sites. While reacting to the matchup, Sean said he couldn't believe the odds, explaining that he had heard Justin was sitting at around a 3-1 underdog. To him, that felt crazy, as he expected the fight to be much closer on paper. Even so, he acknowledged that the timing seems to be lining up perfectly for Paddy, who continues to build momentum and confidence with every appearance. Sean went on to describe Paddy as tough, durable, and hard to put away, suggesting that fighters like him rarely get knocked out. At the same time, he reminded everyone not to overlook Justin's experience. Sean reflected on Justin's long and brutal career, pointing out that Gaethje has fought just about everyone imaginable. With a record built through constant wars, Justin has shared the cage with Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier, Rafael Fiziev, Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler, Khabib, Tony Ferguson, Donald Cerrone, and Edson Barboza. According to Sean, that resume alone makes the matchup incredibly dangerous for anyone. Despite acknowledging Paddy's youth and hunger, Sean made it clear that Justin cannot be counted out. He described Gaethje as a fighter who throws bombs, thrives in chaos, and feels most comfortable when the fight turns into a firestorm. Sean believes the bout is likely to be wild, intense, and short-lived, with several chaotic rounds before one man ultimately finishes the job. Sean also touched on his own career during a separate interview with TNT Sports ahead of his upcoming fight against Song Yadong. Looking back, he admitted that believing he could become a bigger star than Conor was a delusional idea when he was younger. He explained that Conor reached a level of fame that is almost impossible to replicate. Still, Sean said there remains a path for him to become the biggest star in the UFC in his own way. He reflected on his rapid rise, recalling moments like fighting Petr Yan while unranked, knocking out Aljamain Sterling, breaking gate records in Miami against Cheeto, and performing on the biggest stages. After losing momentum following his fight with Merab, Sean described his career as bouncing back, fueled by motivation and belief. He remains confident that another launch is coming, and he plans to make a statement by putting Song's lights out. Moving on to another news. Former UFC heavyweight Jairzinho Rozenstruik was arrested earlier this week in Florida, according to a report from MMAfighting.com. Records show that Rozenstruik is currently in custody following his arrest on 2 separate charges related to an alleged domestic violence incident. The arrest took place on January 19th and was carried out by the Pembroke Pines Police Department, after which Rozenstruik was transported to the main jail for processing. According to official documents, Rozenstruik was hit with a third-degree felony charge for false imprisonment. For this charge, his bond was set at $2,500. In addition to that, a second charge was filed against him, listed as a misdemeanor for touch or strike, battery, and domestic violence. The bond for the misdemeanor charge was set at $1,000. Alongside these charges, Rozenstruik was also placed on an immigration hold, which is scheduled to last for 48 hours. That immigration-related hold reportedly went into effect on January 20th. The situation has quickly gained attention across the MMA community, with many fans reacting to the seriousness of the allegations. According to circulating rumors, the incident is believed to stem from an alleged altercation involving Rozenstruik and one of his neighbors. However, at this time, those details remain unconfirmed. MMAfighting.com has requested a copy of the official police report in order to gain more clarity on what exactly occurred, but no additional information has been released so far. As things stand, the case is still developing, and further updates are expected once more details become publicly available. Until then, Rozenstruik remains in custody as the legal process continues to unfold, with the MMA world closely watching how the situation progresses. Moving on to another news, Namajunas could be one win away from another UFC title shot if she gets the job done at UFC 324 this weekend. The former two-time strawweight champion still has work to do, but she revealed that she has been told a title fight will be waiting for her if she wins. That revelation has added extra stakes to an already important matchup in her flyweight journey. Rose was originally scheduled to face Alexa Grasso, but plans changed when the former flyweight champion was forced to withdraw. Stepping in on short notice is Natalia Silva, one of the most dangerous contenders in the division. Ahead of the fight, Rose spoke with Ariel Helwani, who pointed out that the general belief is that Silva would earn a title shot if she were to win. When asked directly whether the same promise had been made to her, Rose confirmed that she had indeed been told a title opportunity would be next if she gets her hand raised. The situation is interesting, considering Rose is only one fight removed from a loss to Erin Blanchfield, while Silva currently sits at number 2 in the rankings. However, Rose remains one of the biggest names in women's MMA, and that star power still carries weight. Adding to the equation is the fact that the current champion, Valentina Shevchenko, has already beaten the number 1 ranked contender, Manon Fiorot, leaving fewer clear options at the top of the division. If Rose does receive the call for a title fight, it would mean facing Shevchenko, someone she deeply respects. Rose admitted that the idea brings mixed emotions. She said she would want to have a conversation with Valentina first, explaining that the champion is someone who inspired her and who she has looked up to throughout her career. While she made it clear she is willing to take the fight, she also acknowledged that it would feel strange and emotionally conflicting. Rose added that as a fan of Valentina, she never wants to see her lose, which would make preparing for that fight especially difficult. Still, she understands that at the highest level, those situations sometimes become unavoidable. For now, Rose remains focused on the task in front of her, knowing that a win this weekend could set up one of the most intriguing title fights in the women's divisions. Moving on to another news, Ben Askren shared his thoughts on why he believes booking Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira would be a bad move for the UFC. Ben explained that the biggest issue with the matchup is the long-term value of both fighters, especially Alex. According to him, if Alex steps in there and loses to Jon, it immediately devalues him. In that scenario, Jon likely rides off into retirement right after, leaving the UFC with very little upside. Ben pointed out that if Jon comes back, dominates Alex, and then retires, the promotion gains almost nothing from it. There would be no extended run, no multiple fights, and no long-term storylines built around Jon. Meanwhile, Alex, who has been extremely active and shows no real signs of slowing down despite his age, would lose a lot of momentum. Ben believes Alex should be treated as a prime commodity, someone the UFC can still get 4 to 6 strong fights out of if he is protected properly. He added that if you were to bet on whether Jon would fight more than 2 additional times, the smart money would be on no. In Ben's view, Jon's ideal scenario is coming back, beating a high-profile opponent like Alex, claiming he defeated another multi-belt champion, solidifying his legacy as the greatest of all time, and then walking away for good. That, according to Ben, benefits Jon far more than it benefits the company. The conversation then shifted toward whether that mindset could be considered selfish. Ben addressed that directly, saying he does not believe it is selfish at all. He explained that the UFC is a business, not a person. As long as Jon is honest about his intentions, there is nothing wrong with him making decisions that benefit his legacy. Ben said it would only become selfish if Jon promised Dana that he would return for multiple fights and then went back on that word. Ben also referenced previous discussions involving a potential Stipe fight and a possible matchup with Aspinall, suggesting that trust and transparency play a major role in how these deals are made. In the end, Ben made it clear that from a business and strategic perspective, keeping Alex active and valuable makes far more sense than risking everything on a single Jon Jones return that likely ends in retirement. Moving on to another news, Justin Gaethje laid out a clear and aggressive plan for the remainder of his career, starting with his upcoming clash against Paddy Pimblett at UFC 324. Justin acknowledged that Paddy comes into the fight with massive momentum and confidence, calling those two factors some of the hardest things to deal with at the highest level. He said his goal is to steal that momentum early, because in elite MMA, it often comes down to who makes a mistake first, and he intends to be the one teaching that lesson. Justin admitted that he actually enjoys being the underdog. He pointed out that he has thrived in that role throughout his UFC career, saying he believes he is around 8 wins and only 2 or 3 losses as an underdog. Since 2017, he has consistently fought top 5 opponents year after year and is still standing. According to Justin, if he was not one of the best fighters in the world, he would not still be here competing at this level. While recognizing how popular Paddy is right now, Justin said he plans to do exactly what he has done before: step in and disrupt the plans everyone else wants. He referenced past situations involving Khabib and Tony, explaining that when the division had its eyes set on certain matchups, he showed up to ruin the narrative. Justin noted that Paddy wants to fight Ilia, and Ilia wants to fight Paddy, but once again, he intends to be the one who messes everything up. Justin also spoke honestly about mistakes he has made in the past. He said he now reminds himself every single day that his opponent is coming to hurt him. Underestimating danger, he explained, is a fatal mistake in this sport. He made it clear that he fully understands how dangerous Paddy is, how badly he wants this opportunity, and how difficult it will be to take it away from him. Looking ahead, Justin believes the belt changes everything. When asked about the over or under on how many fights he has left, he confidently said the over. He stated that once he gets the belt, he has no intention of slowing down. His vision is clear: beat Paddy, then beat Ilia, and finally get revenge against Max Holloway. For Justin Gaethje, the mission is far from over, and he believes his best run is still ahead. Moving on to another news, Khabib sent shockwaves through Russian MMA media after sharing his blunt opinion on Tom Aspinall and the controversial no contest ending against Gane. What made Khabib's comments especially striking was not their harshness, but the context behind them. Before the fight, Khabib had been seen inside Aspinall's locker room, offering advice and guidance on how to approach the matchup. Many fans took that moment as a clear sign of support, which made his post-fight stance feel like he was choosing a side in what was meant to be a defining heavyweight title fight. The bout itself descended into chaos after Aspinall chose not to continue following an eye poke. The decision immediately ignited intense debate online, splitting fans into opposing camps. One side accused Aspinall of quitting, arguing that once he realized the fight would not be as straightforward as expected, he chose an exit rather than push through adversity. These critics claimed the moment exposed a lack of toughness at the championship level. On the other side, many defended Aspinall's decision as smart and calculated. They argued that continuing while injured could have put his title at serious risk, especially considering he had only recently been elevated from interim champion status following Jon Jones' retirement. From that perspective, protecting long-term health and championship reign outweighed the optics of pushing forward in a compromised state. At the center of the discussion lies a deeper question about courage versus strategy in elite MMA. Is bravery defined by fighting through injury or by making the correct decision to preserve your career and title? Khabib addressed this exact issue in a recent Russian interview, making it clear where he stands on the matter. His comments added fuel to an already heated debate and ensured that the Aspinall and Gane no contest will remain one of the most talked about heavyweight moments in recent memory. Moving on to another news, Dana White and Zuffa Boxing are reportedly very close to signing Oleksandr Usyk, and the story has already sent shockwaves through the combat sports world. According to his team director, Sergey Lepin, real talks are happening right now, and the interest from Dana's side is genuine. The comments surfaced just as Zuffa Boxing prepares for its official launch this Friday at the UFC Apex, adding even more fuel to the speculation. In an interview with TalkSport, Lepin confirmed there is ongoing dialogue and serious contact between both sides. While he avoided giving away too many details, he suggested that if the format, money, and timing all align, this could turn into one of the most unexpected and massive crossovers in combat sports history. Oleksandr Usyk, the undisputed heavyweight champion, has already been linked to several huge money fights, including a potential clash with Deontay Wilder or even a trilogy with Dubois. However, talks with Wilder have reportedly been slow, with nothing signed so far. If Usyk were to sign with Zuffa Boxing, it would represent a massive shift in the boxing landscape. It would mean stepping away from traditional promoters and embracing Dana's vision of an event-driven boxing league with no alphabet titles, modeled closely after the UFC system. Dana has been outspoken about wanting to revolutionize boxing, focusing on big fights, star power, and fan-friendly cards without the constant drama surrounding sanctioning bodies. Landing the pound-for-pound heavyweight king would instantly give Zuffa Boxing credibility in its debut year. The news also sparked a strong reaction from Luke Thomas, who openly criticized the idea of Dana's approach being labeled as visionary. Luke argued that many people had already thought of similar concepts, but legal and structural barriers made them impossible in the past. He pushed back on the idea that this was some groundbreaking innovation, pointing out that boxing's issues stem from long-standing problems within promotions and sanctioning bodies themselves. Luke did note that the real question will be how Zuffa Boxing presents its product differently. Fewer weight classes, possible rule changes, and adjustments like ring size could impact how fans perceive the fights. Ultimately, he argued that boxing organizations have played a role in their own decline, creating an opening for something new to emerge. If Oleksandr Usyk truly makes the jump, it could signal the beginning of a major shift in how top-level boxing is promoted, with Dana White aiming to reshape the sport in his own image. That's it from MMA Pulse News. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for your daily dose of MMA news.